Good morning, everybody. We want to start our metta recital as we did yesterday. Turn to page 47 of this book. Okay. Let us begin. One skilled in good, wishing to attain the state of peace, should act thus. One should be able, straight, upright, obedient, gentle, and humble. One should be content, easy to support, with few duties, living lightly, controlling senses, discreet, not impudent, unattached to families. One should not do any slight wrong, which the wise might censor. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another, as a mother wishes her own life to protect her only child. Even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all a heart of boundless loving kindness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without greater concernment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divine returning here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed positions, removing the karma from sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought in mind, let us begin our practice. I assume all of you have been meditating, and therefore you don't need too many instructions. But to begin with, we must be reminded of ourselves to pay attention to the breath, which is most important subject of meditation. That is always with us. All we have to do is to pay deliberate attention to our breath. Pure, clean attention without trying to interpret the breath. And then notice inhaling as inhaling, exhaling as exhaling, long inhaling as long inhaling, long exhaling as long exhaling, short inhaling as short inhaling, short exhaling as short exhaling. This doesn't mean that we deliberately make our breath long or short. This length of our breath happens very naturally as the body and mind settle down. Sometimes our breath is long and we pay total undivided attention to the breath. We notice the long breath as long breath. Sometimes it is short. That also happens naturally. Then we become aware of that. Our awareness is so sharp that these tiny little changes we can notice. That sharp our mindfulness should be. And then we also notice the beginning, middle, and end of inhaling and exhaling. That also brings our attention to the breath. Then we notice the breath becomes very naturally relaxed. Body relaxes, mind relaxes. We cannot relax deliberately by force. It also happens naturally. So when the body, mind, the breath are relaxed, we can notice that. And then we must avoid all the dangers that can prop up when the mind, body, breath are calm. The dangers are hindrances, as I mentioned yesterday. I think most meditators are quite familiar with these hindrances. So needless to be repeated them. And then anytime mind wanders here and there, try to understand the very nature of our mind, which has trillions of things accumulated throughout our life, through our six senses. They are in our memory bank. They come to lift their head when we are trying to be calm and relaxed and peaceful. And then we nip them at the beginning in the bud so that they will not grow. So we have to have some degree of effort in order not to let them weigh us down. We have to keep our mind alert, full of mindfulness, in order to prevent this from happening. And this is a very special skill that meditators have to develop. Don't let the mind go to various type of desires or the past or the future and stay in the present moment. Bring the mind to the present moment. Present moment is not a static moment. Present moment is fleeting, changing, appearing and disappearing. Present moment becomes past, going to the past all the time. So we remain mindful to be aware of that. I think it is better for us to spend some time in trying to see these things happening and trying to put these instructions into practice. And therefore it is better for me not to go on talking. If I go on talking, you will not have time to meditate and put them into practice and see for yourself how they work in your own individual minds. So let me stop talking and let us practice some silent meditation until I ring the bell. Natti jhanam apanyassa panyānati ajayato yam hi jhananca panyāca save nibbāna santike. There is no concentration without wisdom, no wisdom without concentration. One who has both wisdom and concentration is close to peace and emancipation. Good morning, friends, once again. I want to continue this talk on right effort. I want to fill little gap that I have left yesterday in, of course, that's a long, very profound subject. I wanted to mention that Buddha said in this discourse, Satipatthana, Mahasatipatthana, at the end of each paragraph, dealing with the body, feeling, mind and mind object, he mentioned that this body exists for us to gain knowledge and vision, for knowledge and wisdom, establishing mindfulness, not to cling to it. The Pali words is Atthikāyoti vapanasa sati vajjupaddhita hoti yavadeva jnanamattaya pati satimattaya anissitocha viharati naca kinchu loke upadhyati. This paragraph summarizes the purpose of this practice, purpose of the existence of this body. This body does not exist just for the sake of existence, but for one who practices mindfulness, this body exists for gaining sati, mindfulness. What is mindfulness here? Sati pachupatitavati yavade jnanamattaya, to gaining wisdom. Jnana is udayabbe jnana. Whenever the Buddha mentions jnana, it means the wisdom of rising and falling. That means seeing rising and falling is jnana. What does rising and falling mean? Rising and falling means impermanence. Things arise and pass away. Things arise and pass away. We must remember when we say pass away, not something that exists that passes away. Something that arises that passes away. If something does not arise, there is nothing to pass away. If there is nothing to, if nothing exists, nothing passes away. In Nibbana, nothing to exist, so nothing to pass away. In the state before attaining enlightenment, there is something that something arises and that passes away. It's called Udayabbe Jnana, or knowledge or wisdom of impermanence. Udayabbe Jnana. Very subtle and most important part to remember. Jnanamattaya pati satimattaya. We have to have awareness, mindfulness of that. This body exists for us to gain wisdom and insight. Anishyatoja viharati. Not relying on it, not depending on it, not holding on to it. That is our problem. Our problem is we are holding on to our body, trying to cling to it. As I mentioned yesterday in particular Manasikara section, unattractiveness of the body section, I said all these parts in the body exist for us to understand that they all are rising and falling. Every atom, every molecule, every cell in our body is always in a state of flux, changing. It doesn't happen all of a sudden one day. From the moment we conceived in the mother's womb, that process started. That process started. And it continues this moment. And it continues until this body cannot assimilate, digest oxygen and nutrients. Until such time this exists, this changes. So, Anishyatoja natya kintu loke upadhyati. Natya kintu loke upadhyati. Upadhyati means clinging. In Ratha Vinita Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, Venerable Sariputta asked Venerable Mantaniputta, what is the purpose of living in the Buddha's dispensation, following Buddha's dispensation? What is the purpose? In the 7 steps he mentioned, Mantaniputta said, this we follow the teaching for reaching Anupada Parinibbanaya. Anupada Parinibbanaya. For the purpose of passing away without clinging. This, we follow the Dhamma, Buddha's teaching, for the purpose of passing away without clinging. Anupada parinibbānāya. Anupada parinibbānāya. I mentioned yesterday that we have a purpose of practicing. That is our purpose. We practice meditation, mindfulness for anupada parinibbānāya. Nibbana saccikiriyāya. For the purpose of passing away. We all pass away. We pass away with some expectation to be reborn in better place. And we may be born in that better place, but that would not bring our suffering to an end. And therefore, we practice Buddha's teaching in order to pass away without clinging. Anupada parinibbānāya. So, in this discourse, in Satipatthāna, nacakinchu loke upadhyati. We don't cling to anything in the world. Friends, we don't cling to external world. We cling to our own world to have a better body, better appearance, better feelings, better perceptions, better experiences, and so forth and so on, all better than now. So there is no end to that. And therefore we meditate to bring that process to an end. And so to do that we have to die without clinging. So this passage says, Attikāyoti vāpanasa sati patyupattitā hoti yāvadeva ñānamattāya pati satimattāya anisthitoca viharati naca kinci loke upadhyati. No upadhi. Upadhi means clinging. That is what I wanted to mention yesterday. Since there were so many things to say, I restrained myself to cut it short. And today I want to speak on right effort. It is called in Pali Viriya. Vādhana. In the Noble Eightfold Path, you can see Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vaca, Kammanta, Adi, Vāyāma. In Noble Eightfold Path, it is called Vāyāma. Right effort. It also is called Viriya. In this, our retreat is Bojjhanga, and there it is mentioned as Viriya Sambojjhanga. So it is sometimes called Viriya, Vāyāma, Vādhana, Ātāpi, and Uddhana, and so forth. There are many Pali words. All mean the same thing. They are all synonymous. So here we use the word Viriya. meaning effort, endeavor, energy, energy. We have physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy. We all know physical energy. You can lift weight, you can run, you can do all kinds of sports. You can get up from bed, you can walk, you can do many, many things with physical energy. We talk. If I don't have physical energy, I cannot talk now. I need some physical energy to talk. And even to stay up at night to study, we have to have energy. Buddha said, Aradha Viriya Sayandamo Nayandamo Kusitasa. This Dhamma is for one who has energy, who makes effort. So even to practice Dhamma, we have to have energy. Physical energy we can gain by eating right food, by exercising, having enough rest, through the practice of meditation, and so forth, we can get some physical energy. We definitely need certain type of food to gain physical energy. Then emotional energy. Sometimes our adrenal glands pump energy very quickly when we have fear. Run away. We don't know how we got that energy, and we run for our life. And sometimes when you are angry, you don't know where you got the energy, you can give a big punch into somebody's nose. When you have greed, you can do so many things. When you are very greedy, you sacrifice your life. You have so much energy. But that is not the energy that we are talking about. We are talking about different type of energy. That is spiritual energy. Spiritual energy, Buddha explained, Viveka Nisitam, Viraga Nisitam, Nirodha Nisitam, Vassagga Parinaming, Viriya Sambodhyangam Bhaveti. Viveka Nisitam, Viraga Nisitam, Nirodha Nisitam, Vassagga Parinaming, Viriya Sambodhyangam Bhaveti. Meaning, Viveka Nisitam. That means seclusion, supported by seclusion. Seclusion also has degrees, categories. High Viveka, Chitta Viveka, Upadi Viveka, Patinisagga Viveka, 4 types of Viveka. Viveka means seclusion. high viveka, physical seclusion. For the physical seclusion, also there are qualities. Appasad, appanigosa, vijanavat, manusaraha seyaka, patisallana sarupa, 5. That is appasad, less noisy place. You can never find noiseless place, but you can find less noisy place. That place is a forest. Even the forest is less noisy. You cannot practice Dhamma if you have fear. In Bhairava Sutta, in Majjhima Nikaya, Buddha said, as he was a bodhisattva, when he was bodhisattva, he this Jnana Soni came and asked the Buddha, the forests are full of fear, frightening experience. How can monastics live in the forest? Because Buddha advised monks to live in forest. Buddha taught him, yes, when I was a bodhisattva, before I attained enlightenment, I knew when I go to the forest with greed, hatred, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry, and doubt, with these 5 hindrances. If I went to the forest, I cannot meditate. I felt I had fear. When I managed to get rid of all these hindrances and go to the forest, I didn't have any fear. When I heard any noise, I did not run away from noise. Ordinary people run away from the noise. I ran into the noise and I wanted to find the root cause of this noise. He behaved like a lion. Lion, the difference between lion's behavior and dog's behavior. When you take a frisbee and throw it to a dog will run after that and bite it or bring it back to you. If you throw the frisbee to a lion doesn't go after the frisbee. Lion will go after you. Because lion wanted to find out the root. So Buddha always behaved like a lion. Went to the root. What are the roots? He made effort to find the root. What are the root? There are 6 roots. Greed, hatred, and delusion, or non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. These are the roots. Buddha always made effort to go to the root. So, appasadda, less noisy place. Appanigosa, I'm mentioning seclusion. Appanigosa, less cacophonies. Cacophony? So many people are talking at the same time. That's a ghosa, noisy. Vijanavada, less without human movement. And Manusara Seyaka, to be able to hide away from human beings. And Patisallana Sarupa, suitable for gaining freedom. With this, you can have physical seclusion. Then what is mental seclusion? Chitta Viveka. Chitta Viveka is attaining jhanas. When you attain jhanas, you can have some seclusion, at least temporarily, from hindrances. These are the qualities of practicing, to practice right effort. Third is Upadi Viveka, seclusion from clinging, holding, desire. Then seclusion from what is letting go, relinquishment. So with these qualities, that is Viveka, this is called Viveka. Then to practice right effort, we have to make effort to do all these things, to make the right effort. Then Viraga Nisitam. Viraga means not attachment, clinging. We make effort to stay without clinging. We need great effort to do that. Then Nirodha Nisitam. There has to be, it should be supported by cessation of greed, hatred, and delusion. And Vasanga Parinami. It should be the effort is ripening in relinquishment. The fruit ripens in relinquishment. Vasanga Parinami. With these qualities, we practice right effort. Then, to practice, do right endeavor, make right effort, there are elements. They are called Arambha Dhatu, Nikkama Dhatu, Parakkama Dhatu. Arambha Dhatu means elements of beginning. Sometimes when you hear inspiring Dhamma talk, or reading inspiring Dhamma book, or having discussion on some inspiration, you get inspired and start doing something very quickly. I want to do it. But it is just like opening a bottle of soda. Energy comes out and disappears. You are very enthusiastic, begin with a lot of enthusiasm, but you cannot continue. But that beginning is called beginning effort, beginning element. Then, second is continuing element, Nikkama Dhatu. Nikkama Dhatu. Most people, most of us begin with great enthusiasm, but we cannot continue it. we very quickly lose interest. Lose interest because our mind is so much full of defilements. Defilements always are trying to sneak into our mind and take us away from our practice. Parakrama dhatu, last is parakrama dhatu, element of completion. Now these three elements are important to practice, to make effort, to make it a part of enlightenment. And I like to bring out some factors that Bodhisattva himself put into this effort. I have something here. I particularly wanted to mention this in order to show how Buddha himself, before attaining enlightenment, made effort in that life itself. We don't want to talk about Viriya Paramita. To talk about Viriya Paramita, we have to go to his previous lives, many countless lives. But in the last life, as Siddhartha Bodhisattva, he made effort. And I want to bring up some points to show how he made effort. He said there is a particular discourse called Padhana Sutta. Padhana Sutta, that you can find in Sutta Nipata. Sutta Nipata. There he says, when resolved upon striving, I had gone to the Neranjana river as I was meditating very strenuously to attain security from bondage. Now, we are talking about factors of enlightenment. So now he practiced all factors of enlightenment in the previous lives. In the last life, as Siddhartha Bodhisattva, he brought all of them together and intensified his practice. Intensified. In previous lives also he did that, but not in the same strength of power of intensity. In this life he wants to intensify his practice. Why? To attain security from bondage. In previous lives there was no security. But in this life, in the final life, he is determined enough is enough. I want to end this and have the perfect security. Then Mara approached, speaking compassionate words. You are thin, pale, you are on the verge of death. Siddhartha Bodhisattva went to various teachers and Alarakaram and so forth. Then finally, he started practicing on his own for 6 years, making strenuous effort. No human being in Maha Sutta Buddha said, no human being can stand this kind of strenuous effort. And his goal was so lofty that he did not care for anything. He did not care for food, drink, sleep, rest, taking showers, taking medicine. He did not care. He cared only for the attainment of liberation. And that is why he became thin. He became thin. Of course, when you are not taking food, your body emaciate, reduced to, he determined, let my flesh wither away, blood dry up, I will not give up my effort. There's a kind of effort. And that is how he became thin, became pale. So Mara approached him and said, you are on the verge of death. Of course, when you don't take food, you will die. 1,000 parts belong to death. One fraction of your life remains. Live, sir. Life is better. While living, you can make merits. Mara said to him. It looks like very compassionate advice. Don't strive. You can live. You can give dana. You can practice precepts. You can help others. You are rich, son of a king. Everything you have. Stay. Don't die. Live, sir. Life is better. While living, make merit. And he said, while you are living the spiritual life and performing the fire sacrifice, abundant merits is stored up. Why devote yourself to striving? You can make merits. Hard to travel is the path of striving. Hard to practice, hard to achieve. So he is speaking these verses. Maharaj stood in the presence of Bodhisattva. Now still he is not the Buddha, Bodhisattva. When Maharaj spoke in such a way, the Blessed One said to him, kingsman of heedless, kingsman of the heedless, evil one, you have come here with a purpose. Evil one came to dissuade the Buddha from attaining enlightenment, to discourage him, giving him reason for living and giving him chances to do meritorious deeds. So evil one asked him to do meritorious deeds. So Bodhisattva said, I do not have any need even for the slightest merits. I don't need merits. I don't have any slightest need for merits. It is fitting for Mara to speak to those who have need of merit. Go and tell those who need merit. I don't need merit. That's a determination. That is a commitment. That is an effort to prevent himself from what you call temptation. I have faith and energy too, and wisdom exists in me. When I am so resolute, why do you speak to me like this? To live? My mind is already made up. I am not going to budge for a second. I want to proceed. That is called proceeding effort, proceeding element. So he started with Arambha Dhatu, beginning element, and he managed to overcome all the obstructions in his way to continue the continuing elements. I have made up my mind. When the blood is drying up, the bile and flame dry up. When my muscles are wasting away, my mind becomes even more serene, and my mindfulness and wisdom and concentration become more firm. This is very important thing. You know, when the body is weak, then mind become weak. Then we lose our interest. And there is no enough muscles to stand up. Bodhisattvas, Buddhas and not attainment, enlightenment. When you want to touch his stomach, it has reduced to such an extent that it touches backbones. Because it is so much sunk into that. His eyes were like deep wells. Eyes are going to the eye socket, like deep wells. When he touched his body, hair fell down. Body hair fell down. It was so really deeply emaciated. At that time, his mind became serene. Instead of becoming weak, losing energy, mind became serene. Mindfulness and wisdom concentration became firm. His mindfulness became very firm. Wisdom became sharp. Concentration became more firm. You see, not weak. That is the kind of effort he made. Because you can see the goal, you know. You can see in races, when people race, horse race and so forth, they see the goal, then use their last iota of effort and just run, not to come back. And therefore, his factors of enlightenment, the energy factor of enlightenment, now coming to fruition. This is not the time to back up. While I am dwelling in such a way, I have experienced extreme pain, yet my mind does not turn to sensual pleasures. Behold the purity of the being. You know, when we have pain, what normally we do? This painful, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. My leg is going to kill me. I'm going to be paralyzed. I will have a stroke. I cannot do this. I don't want to do it today. We get up. We don't continue. But and because when pain arises, we remember the pleasure. How happy I was before I sat here. I heard somebody when come to meditation, he said, I kill myself rather than sitting and meditating. Because meditation is so bad, so hard. See, Siddhartha Gautama was not like that. He said, this is the time I must not be but not be tempted by my pleasure. I had enough pleasure as a prince. I had pleasure. I had 3 palaces. All the time I have never seen a man. All were young, beautiful girls. I lived with them. I went to the end of pleasure. Seeking pleasure, in search of pleasure, I went to the very extreme of pleasure. I don't need this anymore. When he has this pain, he determined like that. And then his mind became more and more purity. Then he knew that this is the time that Mara, when he was physically weak, Mara sent his army, 10 armies, Dasa Mara Sena, 10 armies he sent. Because he thought it would be very easy for him to defeat Bodhisattva, subdue him, because he is weak. Any ordinary person would give up, succumb to Mara's tricks. But he said, sensual pleasures are your first army. Kamate Patamasena. This is your first army. Army doesn't mean only one soldier. There are many, many soldiers in the army. Through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These armies try to attack, remembering all things that we have seen in the past, trillions of things, remembering all the sounds we heard in the past, music, talk, gossip, good talk, dirty talk, joke, we heard, all are in the mind. Then smell, food smell, flower smell, all the kind of smell, good one. And taste, all kind of taste, this food, that food, this country's food, that country's food, this restaurant, that restaurant, remember all that. Then touch, this touch, human touch, animal touch, vehicle touch, house touch, bed touch, cushion touch, and so forth. Touch. Then the thought. All these start bombarding his mind. This is called one's army. Vannami. Kamate patamaseva. Dutiya arati uchati. Second is discontent. When he cannot fulfill all these things, he has discontent. Then hunger and thirst are the third. You know, when we are hungry, can we meditate while stomach is growling, burning, air moving inside, mouth is salivating, remembering this delicious food, delicious drinks? Can we meditate? Cannot. Why? No enough energy, spiritual energy. But he had so much spiritual energy. And when there was thirst, he managed to bear up the pain of thirst. You know, when we are thirsty, see how painful it is. You have to drink. Even seawater you may drink when you are thirsty. Perhaps when you are thirsty, so desperate, you may drink your own urine. When you are thirsty, it is so painful. But he determined not to give up because of thirst and hunger. Then craving is the fourth. Tanna chatuti tanna pavachyati. And then panchami thina middancha. Fifth is dullness and drowsiness. Dullness and drowsiness. I think we all experience that, not only me including, we all experience this particular hindrance. You know, when it is there, we have no energy. But we determined to let it go and keep kindled his energy. Keep going, never to give up. Dullness and drowsiness. Sixth is called cowardice. I want to finish this. Doubt is seven. You know, when we have doubt, mind cannot settle down. When we have doubt, we want to find a solution. It keeps bothering us, troubling us. Always we want to find a solution to our doubt. Get our doubt clarified, ask questions, read books, have a discussion, talk to somebody. This keeps bothering our mind all the time when we have doubt. Doubt is the seventh army, Mara's army. Eighth is denigration and pride. Mano Thambote Artemi. Pride, when pride arises, we become stiff. We become stiff. We never want to listen to anybody. We think we know everything. We think we can do anything. Everybody must obey me. Every nook and corner you take, you will be in trouble, in pain when you have pride. You are like a thamba. Actually, thamba is a very good Pali word. Thamba is pillar. When you are full of pride, you are like a pillar. You cannot what do you call, cannot relax. That is your eighth army. Remember, all these words are used for armies, not one. There are, when we talk about pride, there are various reasons to be proud. Education, wealth, beauty, strength, popularity, and gain. So many things are there for us to be proud. That is not a virtue in spiritual practice. That is the cause of downfall, not for spiritual growth. And then gain praise and honor and only obtain fame is the ninth. Some people become famous not righteously, correctly, rightly, but just putting up, they become famous. Inside they are hollow, empty, nothing, but very popular, very famous. That is another army. Then that is the ninth army. 10th army is even worse. 10th is one exalts oneself and look down upon others. One praise oneself, I am so and so, so and so, so and so, and talk bad about others, belittle others, put down, they try to look down upon others. This is your army, Namuchi, the squadron of the dark one. Namuchi is another name for Mara. Namuchi means you have no liberation, you are trapped. Namuchi, no liberation from these armies. Who is liberated, who has become free from this army? Who got the freedom from the army? This army? No one. Until we attain full enlightenment, we all are trapped in these Mara's armies. And therefore, right effort is absolutely necessary to defeat this Mara, these 10 Maras. And that is how our practice of the fact of enlightenment, fact of effort come to fulfillment. Until we destroy these armies of Mara, our effort to attain effort of what you call enlightenment factor is not complete. So I wanted to mention this as an example of how the factor of enlightenment factor of effort, or effort enlightenment factor, comes to fulfillment by the attaining liberation, by defeating Mara. So it is not something to take very lightly. It is something to take very seriously to our heart, and we keep practicing. And this is very important for us to remember. As we are meditating, as we come across a lot of problems during meditation, all kinds of problems, we must remember this. We must remember what you call enlightenment fact of effort, Viriya. We must keep in mind. And therefore, Viriya Sambojjhanga has four steps. Samvara, Bhana, Bhavana, Anurakkhana. Samvara means restraining our senses. We make effort to restrain our senses from letting unwholesome state arising in the mind, keeping them away. Prevention. In medicine, we have preventive medicine. In spiritual practice, we must try to prevent, hold them at bay. Don't let them come. When all kind of wholesome things. If you have not started drinking, don't start. If you have not taken drugs, don't start. If you have not started gambling, don't start. Like that, there are very many evils in the society. If you have not started, keep them away. Sangvara pradhan. Then, in spite of all this intention, good intention, right effort, since we are not perfect, we have weak moments, those things can sneak into your mind. Your friend will come and try this. This is very good for your memory. This is very good for your digestion. Try this. That's how they try to encourage you. Don't accept it. That is all. If they encourage you, and you may think, because they are so persuasive, so very good in talking, and then you try. And then overcome that. Get rid of it. Immediately, if you try, never try it again. Then try to arouse good mental state, wholesome mental state, like meditating, associating with good friends, reading good Dhamma books, listening to good Dhamma talks, discussing Dhamma. You start these things. Then continue them. Bhavana, Anurakkhana Padhan. Then you maintain it. When you build something, you got to maintain it, repair it. From time to time you repair it and keep it in good shape. So this is the 4 types of effort mentioned in the Noble Eightfold Path. So friends, I think this much I can do today, and I hope we get something out of this for our own practice, and wish you very happy, wonderful retreat.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.